I like living. I have sometimes been wildly, despairingly, acutely miserable, racked with sorrow. But through it all, I still know quite certainly that just to be alive is a grand thing. It is a curious thought, but it is only when you see people looking ridiculous that you realize just how much you love them. Very few of us are what we seem. The impossible could not have happened. Therefore the impossible must be possible in spite of appearances. A mother's love for her child is like nothing else in the world. It knows no law, no pity. It dares all things and crushes down remorselessly all that stands in its path. An archaeologist is the best husband a woman can have. The older she gets, the more interested he is in her. Instinct is a marvelous thing. It can neither be explained nor ignored. If you place your head in a lion's mouth, then you cannot complain one day if he happens to bite it off. Everybody said, "Follow your heart." I did, it got broken. You gave too much rein to your imagination. Imagination is a good servant, and a bad master. The simplest explanation is always the most likely. The best time for planning a book is while you're doing the dishes. One doesn't recognize the really important moments in one's life until it's too late. Never do anything yourself that others can do for you. It is really a hard life. Men will not be nice to you if you are not good-looking, and women will not be nice to you if you are. Never tell all you know. Not even to the person you know best. One of the saddest things in life is the things one remembers. The young people think the old people are fools, but the old people know the young people are fools. The truth, however ugly in itself, is always curious and beautiful to seekers after it. Time is the best killer. But surely for everything you love you have to pay some price. Everything must be taken into account. If the fact will not fit the theory, let the theory go. Good advice is always certain to be ignored, but that's no reason not to give it. I know there's a proverb that says, to err is human, but a human error is nothing to what a computer can do if it tries. But no artist, I now realize, can be satisfied with art alone. There is a natural craving for recognition which cannot be gainsaid. Every murderer is probably somebody's old friend. To every problem, there is a most simple solution. I do not argue with obstinate men. I act in spite of them. A man when he is making up to anybody can be cordial and gallant and full of little attentions and altogether charming. But when a man is really in love, he can't help looking like a sheep. I don't know. I don't know at all. And that's what's frightening the life out of me. To have no idea. It is completely unimportant. That is why it is so interesting. It's like all those quiet people. When they do lose their tempers, they lose them with a vengeance. Everyone is a potential murderer. In everyone there arises from time to time the wish to kill, though not the will to kill. If you confront anyone who has lied with the truth, he will usually admit it, often out of sheer surprise. It is only necessary to guess right to produce your effect. I suppose it is because nearly all children go to school nowadays and have things arranged for them that they seem so forlornly unable to produce their own ideas. There was a moment when I changed from an amateur to a professional. I assumed the burden of a profession, which is to write even when you don't want to, don't much like what you're writing, and aren't writing particularly well. An appreciative listener is always stimulating. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. As life goes on, it becomes tiring to keep up the character you invented for yourself, and so you relapse into individuality and become more like yourself every day. One is left with the horrible feeling now that war settles nothing, that to win a war is as disastrous as to lose one. Everybody always knows something, even if it's something they don't know they know. I often wonder why the whole world is so prone to generalize. Generalizations are seldom if ever true and are usually utterly inaccurate. To rush into explanations is always a sign of weakness. One of the luckiest things that can happen to you in life is to have a happy childhood. When you find that people are not telling you the truth, look out. Words are such uncertain things. They so often sound well but mean the opposite of what one thinks they do. People should be interested in books, not their authors. The happy people are failures because they are on such good terms with themselves they don't give a damn. When engaged in eating, the brain should be the servant of the stomach. One is alone when the last one who remembers is gone. Unless you are good at guessing, it is not much use being a detective. The world is full of good people who do bad things. When the fact doesn't meet the theory, then let go the theory. If the thing you want beyond anything cannot be, it is much better to recognize it and go forward, instead of dwelling on one's regrets and hopes. Life itself is an unsolved mystery. Love can be a very frightening thing. That is why most great love stories are tragedies. There is nothing more thrilling in this world, I think, than having a child that is yours, and yet is mysteriously a stranger. Your idea of a woman is someone who gets on a chair and shrieks if she sees a mouse. That's all prehistoric. To know when to use the truth is the essence of successful deception. I don't think necessity is the mother of invention. Invention, in my opinion, arises directly from idleness, possibly also from laziness, to save oneself trouble. Dogs are wise. They crawl away into a quiet corner and lick their wounds and do not rejoin the world until they are whole once more. Where large sums of money are concerned, it is advisable to trust nobody. Very few of us are what we seem. There's too much tendency to attribute to God the evils that man does of his own free will. If one sticks too rigidly to one's principles, one would hardly see anybody. The popular idea that a child forgets easily is not an accurate one. Many people go right through life in the grip of an idea which has been impressed on them in very tender years. I've always believed in writing without a collaborator, because where two people are writing the same book, each believes he gets all the worry and only half the royalties. Writing is a great comfort to people like me, who are unsure of themselves and have trouble expressing themselves properly. I learned that one can never go back, that one should not ever try to go back, that the essence of life is going forward. The tragedy of life is that people do not change. It's not a man's working hours that are important. It's his leisure hours. That's the mistake we all make. Writers are diffident creatures. They need encouragement. There are doubtless certain unworldly people who are indifferent to money. I myself have never met one.